In this video, we will continue studying properties of exponents. In our first example, we are going to rewrite this problem, this multiplication problem, by using the commutative property. We're going to put our coefficients next to each other and like variables next to each other. Our coefficients are -6 times 3, our x to the 7th, and then x to the -7th will be written next, y to the -4th times y to the 6th. We will multiply our coefficients together and get -18. X to the 7th times x to the -7th. When we multiply, we add the exponents of like bases. We'll do the same thing for the y variables. We will add those exponents because we're multiplying like bases. Our coefficient is -18. Add the exponents. 7 plus -7 is equal to 0. And on the y's we have -4 plus 6, which is equal to 2. Any number or variable to the 0 power is equal to 1. So x to the 0 power is equal to 1. Then we can multiply -18 times 1 and we get -18. Y squared for our answer. We will use the commutative property of multiplication, put our x variables next to each other for our next problem, and our y variables next to each other. When we multiply like bases, we add the exponents. So on the x we have 3 plus -5, and on the y we have the exponent of -1 plus 4. -3 plus 5 is equal to -2, and -1 plus 4 is equal to 3. The y variable will stay in the numerator as it has a positive exponent, and the x variable will go to the denominator and get a positive exponent in the denominator. The x variable has a negative exponent, so then we will rewrite it with a positive exponent in the denominator. When we simplify, we want to make sure we always have positive exponents. When we divide, we subtract exponents of like bases, the top exponent minus the bottom exponent. 3 minus 7 is equal to -4. That is a negative exponent, so we will rewrite it as a positive exponent by putting it in the denominator. So our answer is 1 over x to the 4th. In this example, we will first look at the coefficients as a fraction we need to simplify. 4/12. We can divide the numerator and denominator by 4, and we get 1 over 3. Now we have a quotient. When we have a quotient, we subtract the exponents, the top exponent minus the bottom exponent. A to the 2nd minus -3. And b to the 1st, notice there's a power of 1 on the b in the numerator, minus the denominator, which is 5. We simplify the exponents. 2 minus -3 is the same thing as 2 plus 3, which is 5. And 1 minus 5 on the b is equal to -4. We will rewrite the negative exponent by using the negative exponent rule, writing it as 1 over b to the +4. We can simplify this by multiplying everything in the numerator. 1 times a to the 5th times 1 is a to the 5th. 3 times 1 times b to the 4th is equal to 3b to the 4th. Here we have a product to a power. So we're going to take the square and distribute it to each of the factors that are in the parentheses. So we're going to raise the -4 to the second power and the y to the third to the second power. Negative 4 squared means negative 4 times negative 4. And we have y to the third to the second. This is a power to a power. And when we have a power to a power, we multiply the powers. So we're going to multiply 3 times 2. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. And we multiply those powers together to get 6 as the exponent of the y. So we get 16 y to the sixth. Number 6, we have a quotient to a power, so we'll distribute the square to the numerator and the denominator. So we get 5x squared over y to the third squared. In the numerator, we have a product to a power, so we will distribute the power to the 5 and to the x. In the denominator, we have y to the third squared. That's a power to a power, so we multiply the powers. 3 times 2. 5 squared is equal to 5 times 5, which is 25. And x squared is x squared. And then we multiply our powers in the denominator. 3 times 2 is 6. So we end up with 25x squared over y to the sixth. Our next example is a product raised to a power. So we will distribute the square to each factor in the parentheses. So we raise the 3 to the second power, the x to the negative 4 to the second power, and the y to the 7th to the second power. 3 squared is equal to 9. And we have a power raised to a power, so we multiply the powers. Negative 4 times 2 on our x, and 7 times 2 on our y. So we get 9x. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And 7 times 2 is 14. We need to make the exponents all have positive values. So in order to change the negative 8 on the x to a positive, we're going to write that in the denominator with a positive exponent. So we get 9y to the 14 over x to the 8th.